If you are watching me for the first time, welcome. If you are part of one of my current parties, I'm so glad you're here. And make sure you throw something in the comments and let me know that you saw it. So tonight we are making Salisbury steak. Okay, here's the truth, friends. I've been married a long time. I have never, ever made Salisbury steak. Now, why is that the truth? Well, first of all, it totally brings back memories from my childhood, which I always thought Salisbury steak was kind of like a glorified hamburger. Basically a hamburger without a bun, right? And well, here's a fun fact you might not know about me. There is a condition some children have where their saliva does not have the enzyme that breaks down meat. And I was one of those kids. I was in high school before I could eat a hamburger without gagging on it. And I was probably in my 30s when I came across a study and it noted that some children are missing that enzyme. And I was like, well, that explains everything. And so if you run across a kid like that, just know that it's not their fault. But all that brings me back to why we're making Salisbury steak. I'm excited to try this recipe because, first of all, I want to share it with you. It's a quick, easy meal, weeknight meal, but it could also be kind of special if you wanted it to be. And just because I wouldn't normally make it doesn't mean the rest of the world wouldn't love it. And that includes you. So we are gonna do the Salisbury steak. This is in our new season's best. If you like to collect those, there's two ways to get one. You can order one on the website, or if you host a party with me, I will send you one in the mail. Either of those works. And I've printed it out, and I have to show you, it's on a piece of scrap paper that my 2-year-old granddaughter was coloring last week. And yeah, I have a whole bunch of her art hanging up in my office right now. So I'm also going to modify this recipe in that I'm cutting it in half. So if you're cooking for one or two, you're gonna really wanna pay close attention to how I do that. In cooking for two, it's pretty easy to do that to recipes, but this one calls for our meatloaf mix, which I am in love with. Y'all, I never buy mixes. I mean, I barely even buy a cake mix. But this meatloaf mix is so good. I have literally been stocking up on it because I just love the ease of it. And I love the fact that I can trust the ingredients and it just tastes really good. So we're gonna get the Salisbury steak started. We're going to actually do this on the stovetop. And so I'm gonna have to move the camera here in just a minute. But we're gonna get everything prepped first, and we're going to do it in the stand mixer. So if you don't have a good stand mixer, or if the one you have is kind of on its last leg, we had that other really famous brand for a long time in my house and loved it. In fact, loved it so much that when this one came out at Pampered Chef, all 3 of my kids said, "Mom, what are you gonna do?" Because that other stand mixer was life to us, right? And I didn't think that other one could be improved on. And boy, was I wrong. And in fact, now when I'm at someone else's house and use that other brand of stand mixer, I'm so befuddled. I'm like, oh, where's the this? Where's the that? Why doesn't it do this? And it's like, oh man, have I gotten spoiled really fast with this one? And part of it is just because it's easy to move around. And that might sound silly, but I have a very small kitchen, so I can't like leave this out somewhere. I have to always move it. And it actually has a carrying handle here, and it's better weighted. It's not like top side, I don't know. That's not the word I want, but it's better weighted. Plus, it's got this really cool dial with all these presets on it. So when I'm kneading bread, literally, I set it to knead, I push the button, and I go do whatever else I need to do for the next 8 minutes. So you don't have to babysit it like other stand mixers. It has presets on it, or you can just preset your own and push the start button and let it go, okay? So those are probably the 2 big features I love about it. There's a lot of others, but those are the ones that are coming to mind right now. So we're gonna use it to make our meatloaf. And I've got some ground beef here. We're gonna just use the really old classic. These literally are 30 years old. These came in the kit when I started my Pampered Chef business, or maybe I earned them, I don't know, somewhere along the line. They're 30 years old. And we still use them constantly. So this probably did peel open, but if it did, I did not remember to look for that. So I'm curious to know how many of you out there buy your beef, like just buy half a cow or a quarter cow, or we get like an eighth of a cow. How many of you buy it versus buy it from a local farmer, or maybe a farmer's market versus buying it at the grocery store? I'm really curious to know how many of you do that. I know it's a little more expensive, ground beef in particular, but pound for pound, it actually ends up being a lot cheaper in the long run. And I just love having that freezer full of meat all the time so that I'm not having to run out or think about what do I have or what do I need. Okay, so this recipe calls for 2 pounds. I told you we're cutting it in half. So there's 1 pound of ground beef. We are going to crack 1 egg into the bowl. And then we need we're going to use the meatloaf mix, but we're only going to use half of it. So that's where having a kitchen scale comes in super handy. And I forgot the beater, so hold on. This does come with 3 different attachments, a beater, a whisk, and the bread dough hook. Okay. So what we're going to do, this is all the ingredients here, guys. And then we've got, well, I shouldn't say that go in here right now. We're also going to chop up some onions and mushrooms and add them, and they are actually going to make the sauce that goes on top. So okay, so what do we need to do? If we're going to cut this in half and we're using a meal mix, super simple. It says 2.5 ounces. So here's, to me, the easiest way to do it. This little wrapper guy does not weigh very much. So in fact, I'm gonna set this, and it weighs this. Let me put it in ounces here. Yep, this says 2.72 or 2.51 or 71.2 grams, and if I put it on grams here, it's 77 grams. So we're going to take the scissors here again, and what I want to do is, I've got it on the scale here. It's weighing 2.7 roughly ounces. I actually really prefer to use grams, so they're so much more easy to read. So 77, so half of that is going to be about 37 and a half, 38 grams is what I'm going to want out of this. So you kind of want to shake it up because, you know, it settles in packaging, and you want a kind of an even, you know, of what's inside here. And then I'm just going to cut off the corner, and I'm going to do about half of it. So I got into using grams instead of ounces with all my bread baking. Ooh, 39, we are so close. And it really is just so much easier. And then I read something, okay, perfect. I read something just the other day that we're like one of 2 nations in the world that does not use the metric system. We're such rebels. It's so ridiculous. It's us in some little country, and I don't remember where. But yeah, we're one of 2 countries that does not use the metric system, so yay us. All right, so sealing up with a little Twix-It clip, the rest of the seasoning, putting it back in the box where I will mark it as that I've used half of it. And that's okay, because I can use the other half to make half a meatloaf or make this recipe again at some date in the future. So we are simply going to stick this down like so and turn it on and set it to mix. Remember I said it has presets, and we only need it to mix for 45 seconds. So we're just going to turn that way down to 45 seconds and push start and let this thing do all the work. So again, I love the fact that it's preset, so I don't have to babysit it. One of the other things that it does is that it works its way up to the speed. So it starts on speed 1, and then you'll hear it speed up a little bit. You'll see it speed up here in just a minute, and that means less likelihood of things flying around your kitchen. So that's the big win with that. It does have a pouring shield if that's your jam. I have one, I never use it. but it's there if you want it. The bowl, of course, is dishwasher safe. All of the other things are dishwasher safe. I think it needs more than 45 seconds, so I'm gonna just start it again. I'm just gonna let it go, and I'll tell you when I think it's done. I think it took a little longer because my ground beef was not quite thawed. I stuck it in the fridge yesterday, and I could feel it was still just a little frozen. So if you don't own these, they're awesome. If you do own these, this is what we thought all of our meat is. This is the 3 tray set for doing like breaded chicken and things like that. And so you've got 3 of these trays, a cute little pair of tongs, and you bread, like you put your flour, your egg mixture, and your breading in each of the 3. We use these constantly for thawing meat in our fridge. So if you've watched me before, you've heard me talk about them. They are the best. I use them way more for thawing meat than I do for actually breading things. But, okay, this is looking much better. Okay, so that is ready to go. There is our beef mixture. We're gonna get our stand mixer out of the way for now. And do yourself a favor. If you decide you really want one of those in your kitchen, host a party. Because online parties are so simple and easy to do, and all you need is $200. Just $200 in orders gives you a 60% off item. So that stand mixer goes from being about $400, which is a totally competitive price for what you get compared to its rival out there. But why not get 60% off of that? I mean, I'd rather pay $160 than $400 any day. So just keep that in mind, okay? I'm not gonna tell you what to do, but I am gonna tell you that you will not regret it. So we are going to make these into patties. Shape the mixture into 8 oval patties. Okay, so how do you do that evenly? Well, here's my secret. So I love using the cutting mats. They just make all of this much easier. And it's sort of like portioning dough for rolls. So if you make rolls, especially like at the holidays, portioning dough into even amounts can be a little tricky. So my recommendation is that you kind of just make this into, I've got a rectangle. You could do a square or a circle. If you do a circle, actually let's do a circle. That might be the easiest for y'all to get your head around. Okay, this is how I do rolls, usually. So we've got a circle, okay? And then I'm gonna grab a knife, just a good sharp knife, preferably a one that's longer than your circle. And I'm gonna just cut this in quarters, okay? So we have 4 quarters, and then we're going to cut the quarters in half. And we have 8 portions now that should be about the same weight. So obviously they don't have to be perfectly the same, but about the same. And we're just gonna roll these into little oval patties, and they really are little oval patties. Okay, so that makes easy work out of that. And this is the perfect kind of recipe to make with kiddos, because this is stuff they can help with. They can put the meat in the mixer, and they can turn the mixer on, and then they can help you roll these patties. And if they're not perfect, it's okay. But the way we get good at anything is practice, right? And so the more you can get your kids helping you in the kitchen, the better. So our Uganda grandkids are on their way back. Our Virginia grandkids are coming up for the weekend. And my husband was just saying, he's like, oh, I hope they don't get bored, because, you know, they're older, and most of the kid toys we have downstairs now are for much younger children. First of all, the girls in particular, they don't care. They will still play with the dollhouse. But the other thing that I love to do with them when they're here as much as possible, and I'm planning to do this weekend, is stuff in the kitchen. They love to help bake anything and everything. Other thing I remember when I was raising our kids was that they were so much more likely to eat something that they had helped make. So if you've got picky eaters that you're dealing with, having recipes that they can help cook makes such a difference, because then they'll eat it. They're like, oh, well, they made it, so they at least will taste it, right? so there's my best tip for helping solve the picky eater dilemma. So this calls for half of a small onion diced. To me, that is always like, I would rather it said a 1/4 cup diced onion or something, because like, define a small onion. This is not small, but is it large or is it in between? Onions come in all kinds of sizes. So I'm gonna just do half of this, but obviously you get to decide. If you like onion, you can add more. If you don't like onion, add less or leave it out altogether. It is totally up to you. But I am excited to talk to you about one of the products that's on sale right now, which is our food chopper. Oh gosh, somebody was asking me when that's on sale. I gotta go back through my text messages. Yay for search engines. Somebody was just asking me within the last couple weeks, and this went on sale October 1st, just through this Sunday. So 15% off the food chopper. This is, well, let me just explain. You can do it in the cup, okay? Right here. Also great stress relief if you've had a day. And there's our chopped onion. You can also do it right on the cutting board, which is what I tend to like to do. Oops, I missed a part. Okay, and again, all chopped, ready to go, and so easy to wash. Okay, this guy, its job is to push the food off the blades, which is why you'll see some in here, but the blades are clean. They're clean, guys. Isn't that amazing? I mean, there's a few little specks here and there, and then this opens right up for easy washing, dishwasher safe, hands down, one of the products we're best known for. And my eyes are getting a little teary. I can use that now when I'm feeling sad about Hannah leaving. So it's the onions. It's just the onions. All right. If I hadn't opened that up, they wouldn't be bothering me. So, okay, we're gonna set this over here for a minute, because the other thing we need to do is slice some mushrooms. And I forgot to have them out, so hold on a moment. We've got some massive mushrooms here, and my favorite mushroom slicer. Here we go. Okay, so this is the tool for slicing mushrooms and other things that are like it. And, okay, you guys, true story. I'm really bad about washing vegetables. And a lot of it is because I have a daughter who lives in Uganda who looks at these and says, "They're clean, Mom. Why do you need to wash them again?" So don't follow my suit on this. If you feel better about washing your mushrooms, please do it. But these are already pretty clean. And here's the thing. If you're going to wash your mushrooms, you want to wait and do it right before you need them, because otherwise they get really soggy, okay? So the quick slice is, in my opinion, just perfect for getting perfect mushroom slices, just like that. Now, the other thing that is super popular that you can use for smaller mushrooms is this new cup slicer, and this is so fun. So these mushrooms are literally, they're huge. These are the only ones I could find today. So you'll have to get the idea here. With the cup slicer. Yeah, it's just huge. But you can literally line them up and go through and get your sliced mushrooms this way, okay? So these are just so big. The cup slicer is not big enough. But this, again, great tool for kids helping you in the kitchen, whether it's slicing mushrooms, you can use it to slice cheese, bananas, strawberries, pitted olives, I'm trying to think what else. Just those small things. It's perfect for that. But for larger jobs, I can't say enough about the quick slice. It's my favorite. So that is a lot of mushrooms, thankfully. Oh, you know what? Because I forgot to have it. It's 8 ounces and we only needed 4. So that's all right. I'll put the other 4 ounces, I'll put the other half in my salad tomorrow. Okay, so we kind of have everything ready. And now what we're going to do is we're going to get things going on the stovetop. I want to talk about this pan real quick. So this is our new stainless. We just reintroduced it after having it out of the line for a couple of years. I've never been so happy to see a product come back. This is the best, hands down, cookware we have ever sold or could ever sell. It is so easy to use. It is shockingly easy to clean. It is dishwasher safe. And honestly, if you use it properly, food does not stick because it's a high quality stainless with a an aluminum core. So high quality stainless, aluminum core, a brushed stainless finish. Look how gorgeous this pan is. You'd think this pan had never been used. I should bring up my original stainless. It's in our basement for lack of space in my kitchen. But I still have all the original, which is easily 20 years old now, and it all still looks new. It is gorgeous. It's like indestructible cookware. And I'm just really thrilled to use it for this recipe. So we're gonna set this on a medium heat. Hopefully I didn't screw anything up here. I was frantically trying to clean my stovetop right before 6:30 and I just gave it a wipe down. It's bad. Hopefully you can't see just how bad it is, but it's okay. It's okay. Focus on the beautiful pan. Not on my cookware, or not on my stovetop, I'm sorry. Focus on the cookware, not the stovetop. So we're gonna put a little bit of oil. The recipe calls for, I believe, a tablespoon. Yes, a tablespoon of oil. This is the secret to having your nonstick cookware, your stainless cookware act like nonstick, is that you just put a little bit of oil in, and you wanna make sure you've coated the whole bottom of the pan. And that's the magic. You let it heat up until it's shimmery, which usually takes about 2 or 3 minutes. And you guys, this is the healthiest cookware you can possibly work with because there's no coating. It's just the oil that you put on. There's nothing wrong with the putting oil in your food, especially if it's a good healthy oil. Like this is the low-grade olive oil that I'm always preaching to use. So low-grade olive oil is perfect. You can use any olive oil, but the low-grade just has a higher heat point, so it doesn't smoke like your Evo does. You can use like avocado oil. What are some coconut oils? Another really good one. Butter. Good fresh butter is so much better for you than any kind of processed oil out there. So, and by processed, I mean non-natural oils. So we've got this going, and we're going to just add our I'm sorry, I'm reading so I don't screw this up. We're going to just add our little Salisbury steaks here. And you'll hear them sizzle. My friend Linda says that's how you know the pan is ready when it applauds. You put the food in and it applauds you. It says, yay! Perfect. And the secret, again, sort of like when you're cooking chicken, is just to not move it. And I'm going to have to move it because I didn't space it very well. I'm going to have to move it with the wrong tool, but it's all right. I mean, this tool is fine. It's just not one we carry currently, but We do have a nylon version of this. This is a fish spatula. I actually really love the fish spatula. It's so thin it gets under everything. So we're going to let these cook for 2 to 3 minutes per side. And one of the things I do like to do is just kind of squish them down a little bit. They'll cook more evenly if they're all the same thickness, okay? So we're going to let them cook for 2 to 3 minutes, and then we're going to flip them. So while they're cooking for those 2 to 3 minutes, let me talk to you more about this cookware. So the big step up between this and our original stainless is that it no longer has the rivets on the inside. So I actually have an original stainless down here. Let me pull it out. That's where my other pan went to. I've been looking for that other pan. It's down there. So this was the original. And look what I told you. This pan's literally 20-some years old. And it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. But it does have the rivets inside the pan. Our new pans, no rivets inside. So no food getting stuck on anything, okay? I already mentioned they are dishwasher safe, but they also wash up beautifully by hand. If they get, like, you know how fat it kind of will discolor on the outside of the pan. I don't know how it gets there, maybe splattering, I don't know, but you get that discoloration. Any of that will usually come off with a good scrub with Dawn dish detergent and a scrubby pad. And when I say scrubby pad, not like steel wool or not one of those metal scrubby things, but I use what we call green meanies or a scrubbing sponge. The blue ones, those are really good ones. The Norwex scrubby pads are really good, just not a stainless steel, because that can ruin the finish on these pans, and then they won't stay non-stick. Now, they'll still cook way better than anything else out there, and they will still be the healthiest pans you can possibly cook on. You'll just lose the finish that makes them even more easy to use. That's really all it is to it. It's not going to ruin the pan in any other way, but you know, I like to keep things looking as new as possible, as long as possible, and that's the secret. The other thing about stainless, of course, is you can use any utensil in it, and you're not going to hurt your pan. Another thing is you get this really great stuff on the bottom that's called fond, F-O-N-D, and boy, are we fond of fond in my household, because that's what you make the gravy with. And that's what we're going to do here in just a minute, actually. All right, so we're going to let these cook for another 2 to 3 minutes on the flip side here. And while they're doing that, I need to grab something out of my fridge. I'll be right back. All right, so those are working on it. Oh, we're going to need a little bit of flour, and I forgot to get that out, so let me grab that. Yeah, I can remember to cut all the rest of this in half, or I'm going to have way more broth than I need. 1/4 cup flour, so that's 2 tablespoons. Okay. And we're going to need a whisk. And look what I grabbed. I grabbed my original whisk. This is the one that came in my kit over 30 years ago. Last whisk you'll ever buy. So just to show you the difference, the new ones have a beautiful handle. So this is my old one. This one's 30 years old. This one's maybe 15 years old. Do you have a whisk in your drawer that's 15 years old that still has the handle and all the tines are in place? If not, I have a solution for you. I also need more light. I realized I was getting ready. I thought, oh, we are heading into the dark months. I love winter. I love winter. I love fall. I love crisp, cold weather. I love sweater season. but I'm not a huge fan of dark. So it's always a challenge for me. This time of the year, it's like, it's cold and yummy, but it's dark. All right, I'm gonna grab a plate for these steaks. So I think I showed this once before, but this is the new dinnerware that we now have available for you guys. We were able to earn it earlier this year, and then Pampered Chef decided to make it available to all of our customers, including you. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It is heavy. I will tell you that. It is heavy because it is stoneware. It's made by our stoneware manufacturing plant, which is in Texas, for all of you Texas fans out there. And one of the things I do love about it is that I will put it in my air fryer and warm it up before we put, especially if it's a food that cools off really quickly, I will just pre-warm it in my air fryer on the other side of the room there, and let it, so it keeps the food warmer. So I don't let them get hot. I mean, they can, but I don't. You don't want to burn your hands trying to eat your dinner, burn your family's fingers. You know, when you get that plate at, where is it? They're always saying, the plate's hot. So, all right. Now we're going to add our onions and our mushrooms. So, did that, add the mushrooms, onions, and salt and pepper. Okay. So, we have our onions and the rest of them here. Here's my scraper. And the mushrooms. Now we don't want to cook these mushrooms too long because they will start to sweat. And that's what makes your mushrooms get soggy and your entire recipe gets really wet. And I have learned this lesson the hard way so many times. So we're going to be mindful of this and not cook these. It says about 4 minutes, 4 to 5. In here. And we need to add some flour, or some salt and pepper also. So let me do that. Okay. So I don't know if you can see, the pan has got some black, and that's okay. It's just the fun. It will all come off either when I make the gravy or when I wash it. So it does give measurements for your salt and pepper. I do the taste and give this another minute or two. So to keep talking about these beautiful pans, they all come with their own glass lids. The pans and the lids have a lifetime warranty. I want to make sure you heard that. Pans and lids have a lifetime warranty. Now, what does that really mean? What that means is as long as you take care of them, Pampered Chef will replace them. And they are really good about this. How do I know? Because I get calls from customers every now and again, and Pampered Chef is really good about it. So even if God forbid, the glass lid should break, I've only maybe had it happen to 2 customers in 30 years, but things happen, right? You will see, you will be able to get it replaced. So to me, that's a really great selling factor. I hate to use the word selling factor. That just sounds very selly. But it's a really good feature. There's the word I really wanted. It's a good feature. Okay, we're going to make some roux. And roux is what you make when you add flour to fat. Now, most of my fat is actually gone in here, but we're going to do this anyway. And this is the way to make gravy without lumps, is by making a roux. You're adding flour to fat, you're letting it cook for about a minute, and then we're going to add our beef broth. So the recipe calls for 2 cups of beef broth. I'm using 1 cup. And you can buy it in the container if you want. I almost always have homemade chicken broth on hand for that, but I do not have homemade beef broth. So we're going to have to make some. So we're just going to use a cup of water. And I recommend the better than bouillon. This is way better than bouillon. The end of the story. It's better than bouillon. It just, oh yeah, so much better flavor. I still prefer homemade, but this is the next best thing. So this gives, this container makes, oh my goodness, how many? 100 servings. So basically 100 cups of beef broth. And, oh, I don't want to use that one. You're using 1 teaspoon per cup of water. So get that in there. And it doesn't really matter in this case if I've got it completely mixed in, because it's going to all mix in the pan. So did not do a very good job of that because I don't want to waste your time. But we're going to pour this in, and you're going to see a couple things. One, you're going to see the gravy start to come together. And you're also going to see the fond bits coming off the bottom. So, true story, it's a little blacker than I like it. I don't know if I had the heat on a little too high. I don't know if you can see it, y'all, but like everything's coming off the pan. There's like nothing left on the bottom of the pan. It's insane. It's insane how this works. So I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit. And so if it happens, it's not going to hurt you to eat it. It just looks darker than I would prefer. So now, just to make sure I'm remembering this right, oh, I forgot the Worcestershire sauce. We're going to add that. And put the patties back in the pan and reduce it to low, which I've already done, and cook it for 15 minutes or until the patties measure 165 degrees. And actually, no, that's not right. I'm thinking of chicken. All right, so we need the Worcestershire sauce. It also calls for barbecue sauce, friends. I'm leaving it out because I don't have any. I don't happen to have any on hand, and I was not going to make a run to the store just for barbecue sauce. I wish you could see how beautiful this gravy is. I don't know if I can hold the pan up close enough. There's little bit looking things in it, but it's the pieces of onion. There is no flour lumps in this gravy. It's beautiful. So now we're just going to put our patties back in, and I like to turn them so they have some of that gravy on top. And then we're going to pop the lid on and let them cook for 15 minutes, and it will be ready to eat. That is going to give me time to cook up some potatoes in my little pot here, and do this the easy way. Cook up some potatoes, microwave some vegetables, and have a really nice hearty meal ready in less than 30 minutes. Now, you're all looking at your clock going, you've been doing this for more than 30 minutes. Well, that is true because I have been showing you how to do it. But this is a 30-minute recipe, start to finish. And it is definitely a recipe that if you prep things ahead of time, you could easily make the patties up ahead of time. You could definitely have your vegetables chopped and things like that done ahead of time. I would be keeping them in my ever so handy prep and store containers that I keep in my fridge with things prepped. And that just saves so much time when you're actually making dinner. Oh yay, I have 13 minutes left on my timer here, so we'll just know to leave it in another minute or so. What I will suggest actually is it says cook for 15 minutes or until the interior temperature reaches 165. That's actually what they do recommend. And to flip the patties halfway through. Whatever you like your hamburgers cooked to, that's what you're going to cook this to, but check the temperature early. So if it says 15 minutes, I would check it at maybe 12 because you don't want to overcook it unless you just really like well done ground beef. And if you do, then absolutely go for it. Okay. All right. So that is our recipe for tonight. I'll post pictures when I get it out on the table. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want the recipe, you send me a DM and I will send it to you in a PDF form. Okay. And if you want more information about any of the tools I used, including the fact that that food chopper is on sale right now, wherever it went to, it's in my sink. Yeah, let me know and I can give you a link to either an open party or we can do your own party, get you cookware at 60% off, get you that stand mixer, whatever, half price items, free stuff. Hosting is easy and it is always worth it. Not just because you're going to get some great benefits, but we're going to share some fantastic new recipes with your friends and family, get them all into the fall cooking mood. No matter where you live, it's autumn. And it is that season where we just start hunkering down into all of our favorite recipes for the upcoming holidays, making all the squash everything. And I would love to help you with that. So let me know how I can help. Enjoy the rest of your evening, or if you're watching the recording, thanks for watching to the end, and I'll be back next Thursday night. See you then.